You are not free. You are operating inside a system you cannot see, obeying rules you never agreed to, and it's working perfectly. Every decision you think you're making, who to trust, when to speak, how to position yourself, is being shaped by laws you were never taught. Laws that govern how power actually moves, how hierarchies actually function, how people actually decide your worth. Niccolò Machiavelli understood something most men never learn. Visible rules are theater. The real rules, the ones that determine who rises and who kneels, operate in silence. They are never written down, never taught in schools, never discussed openly, because the people who benefit from them need you blind. This is not conspiracy, this is architecture. Human systems, corporations, relationships, social circles, families, all run on the same operating system, and that system is Machiavellian. It rewards the strategic, it punishes the naive, it elevates those who understand power mechanics and crushes those who believe in fairness. You have been living inside this system your entire life. You have felt its effects, the inexplicable promotions of less competent men, the sudden coldness of people you thought were allies, the way your honesty was used against you while others' deceptions were rewarded. You attributed it to luck, to politics, to personality. You were wrong. There are 7 laws. They are operating right now, on you, around you, against you. And once you see them, you will never unsee them. Law 1. The economics of presence. Your availability is destroying your value. This is not advice. This is economic law. In every hierarchy, professional, social, romantic, attention is finite, and what is abundant becomes worthless. You answer immediately. You make yourself accessible. You show up when called. You think this demonstrates loyalty, reliability, competence. It demonstrates the opposite. It signals that your time has no competing demand, that you have nowhere else to be, that you are grateful for the opportunity to be included. In Machiavelli's courts, the prince who arrived first to every meeting was never the one with power. The one who arrived last, whose presence was uncertain, commanded the room before he entered it. Watch what happens in your workplace. The person who responds to emails at midnight is never perceived as dedicated. They are perceived as desperate. Meanwhile, the executive who takes 3 days to reply is assumed to be managing more important matters. Their scarcity creates the assumption of value. This operates in every domain. The woman who is always available becomes taken for granted. The friend who drops everything loses respect. The consultant who clears their calendar signals they have no other clients. You have been taught that accessibility is virtue. It is not. It is the behavior of someone who does not understand that presence is currency, and currency, when printed without limit, becomes worthless. They are not ignoring you because you are unimportant. They are ignoring you because you made yourself abundant. Law 2. The law of necessity. Being loved is a liability. Being needed is power. Affection is conditional. Utility is structural. You have been conditioned to pursue likability, to be charming, agreeable, emotionally available. You think this builds loyalty. It builds nothing. Because the moment someone finds you replaceable, affection evaporates. Necessity does not. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But he understood something deeper. Fear and love are both emotional. Necessity is architectural. The person who controls access to something irreplaceable controls the relationship itself. Look at your professional life. The colleague everyone likes gets laid off first. The disagreeable specialist who possesses critical knowledge is untouchable. Why? Because affection is decoration, utility is foundation. This extends to every arena. The woman who offers emotional comfort can be replaced by the next sympathetic presence. The woman who controls access to networks, to resources, to status cannot. The friend who makes you laugh is pleasant. The friend who can make a single call that changes your career trajectory is essential. You have been investing in being loved because it feels good. Meanwhile, others have been investing in being needed because it creates dependency, and dependency is the only bond that survives inconvenience. Stop asking if they like you. Start asking if they can afford to lose you. If the answer is yes, you have built your position on sand. Law 3. The fog of war. You told them your plan. That is why you failed. Transparency is not integrity. It is strategic suicide. Because the moment you reveal your intentions, you arm everyone around you with the ability to position against you before you move. Machiavelli observed that princes who announced their military campaigns gave their enemies time to fortify. Those who moved in silence took cities before opposition could organize. The same mechanism governs every competitive environment you occupy. You announced you were pursuing a promotion. Now your colleagues are quietly undermining your credibility with management. You revealed you were starting a business. Now your contacts are launching competing offers. You shared your relationship problems with mutual friends. Now those friends are shaping your partner's perception against you. Not from malice, but from self-interest. This is not paranoia. This is positional awareness. In any system where resources are finite, status, opportunity, attention, your gain is someone else's loss, and the person who knows what you want can either help you get it or ensure you don't. Most will choose the latter because your elevation is their demotion. Watch the ones who rise. They speak in generalities. They deflect questions about their next move. They let others speculate while they operate in silence. By the time their intention becomes visible, it is already done. You thought honesty was strength. It is exposure. Keep your strategies invisible until they are irreversible. Law 4. Emotional asymmetry. Whoever cares least controls everything. This is not cynicism. This is mechanical reality. In every negotiation, professional, romantic, transactional, power flows to the party with the lowest emotional investment. Because desperation is always visible, and visibility is always exploited. You care too much about the outcome, about being liked, about fairness, and that care is readable in every micro-expression, every over-explanation, every concession you make before it is asked for. Meanwhile, the person across from you has engineered indifference, not because they do not want the outcome, but because they understand that the appearance of not needing it increases the probability of getting it. This is why the job candidate who has other offers negotiates better terms, why the woman who is prepared to walk commands more investment, why the deal maker who can afford to lose closes on their terms. You have been taught that caring is noble, in personal relationships perhaps. In competitive systems, it is a liability that gets priced in immediately. Watch what happens when you express urgency. The timeline extends, the demands increase, your leverage evaporates because the other party now knows you have more to lose than they do. They do not need to meet you halfway. they can simply wait for you to meet them at their position. This operates in silence. No one announces they are exploiting your desperation. They simply move slower, offer less, observe you capitulate. Stop signaling need. Signal options, even if you have none. Law 5. The surgeon's knife. Your kindness is cruelty in disguise. You hesitate to cut, to fire the incompetent employee, to end the parasitic relationship, to remove the person who is actively undermining you. You tell yourself this is compassion. It is cowardice dressed as virtue. Because while you delay, the damage accumulates. The incompetent employee costs your team credibility and morale. The parasitic relationship drains resources that could build something functional. The underminer positions allies against you. Your hesitation is not protecting them, it is sacrificing everyone else. Machiavelli observed that the prince who delays necessary cruelty commits greater cruelty through inaction. The infected limb that is not amputated kills the body. The traitor who is not removed recruits others. Mercy without strategic logic is just slow-motion destruction. You think you are being kind, you are being weak, and weakness in positions of responsibility is not a personal failing, it is a systemic poison. Because the people who depend on you suffer the consequences of threats you refused to eliminate. A surgeon does not apologize for removing a tumor. The cut is not violence, it is precision, it is care for the organism that extends beyond the comfort of the moment. The people you refuse to remove know you will not act. That is why they continue. They have correctly assessed that your tolerance for discomfort exceeds your commitment to function, and they are using that against you. Stop calling it kindness. It is enablement. The surgeon's knife is mercy. Your hesitation is cruelty. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. Invisibility is death. You are competent. You deliver results. You execute flawlessly. And you are being passed over for people with half your skill and twice your visibility. You think this is injustice. It is mechanics. In every hierarchy, attention is the substrate of value. Not merit, not effort. Attention. Because in human systems, perception precedes reality. The person who is seen wins. The person who is unseen does not exist. Machiavelli understood that the courtier who dressed plainly and worked in silence was forgotten regardless of contribution. The courtier who staged spectacle, who controlled what the prince noticed, shaped policy, not through competence, through presence. This has not changed. Your manager does not have a perfect accounting of everyone's contributions. They have a fragmented, biased impression shaped by what crosses their awareness. The colleague who sends visible updates, who speaks in meetings, who ensures their name appears in proximity to success, that colleague is building a perception advantage that your silent excellence cannot overcome. You were taught that good work speaks for itself. It does not. It sits in silence, while louder, lesser work takes credit. Watch what actually gets rewarded. Not the person who solved the problem, but the person who presented the solution. Not the strategist who designed the campaign, but the face who delivered it. Contribution without visibility is philanthropy. You are donating your value to someone else's reputation. This is not about becoming fake. It is about understanding that attention is not a distraction from the work. It is part of the work. Court it, or remain invisible. Law 7. Master the art of timing. Patience is not a virtue, it is a weapon. You act on impulse when you feel ready, when the opportunity appears, when emotion demands movement. And this is why you lose to people who are less talented but more calibrated. Because timing is not about speed, it is about precision. The predator does not strike when it is hungry, it strikes when the prey is exposed. The general does not attack when his army is prepared, he attacks when the enemy is divided. Machiavelli wrote that fortuna, luck, favors the prepared, but only when preparation meets the moment of maximum leverage. Acting too early wastes the advantage. Acting too late surrenders it. The elite do not move on their schedule. They move on the schedule of vulnerability. Watch how power actually transfers. The executive who resigns does not do so randomly. They time it to the quarter when their departure causes maximum disruption, extracting maximum severance. The colleague who asks for a promotion does not do so after a success. They do it when the manager is desperate to retain them, when replacing them would be catastrophic. You ask for raises after you have performed. They ask when the cost of losing them exceeds the cost of paying them. You confront issues when you are angry. They confront when the other party is weakest. You negotiate when you need something. They negotiate when the other side needs something. This is not manipulation. This is understanding that every action has an optimal moment, and that moment is determined by external conditions, not internal readiness. You have been acting on feeling. Start acting on position. The wolf does not chase every rabbit. It waits for the one that stumbles. That patience is not restraint. It is lethality compressed into stillness. Timing is the difference between a move and a massacre. Most men never learn this. They live in reactive chaos, wondering why their efforts yield nothing, while others' minimal actions yield everything. You are no longer reacting, you are positioning, and position determines outcome more than effort ever will. You have just learned the operating system. Most men will watch this and feel nothing, or they will feel something and do nothing. They will return to the illusion that the world operates on fairness, that good intentions are rewarded, that transparency and availability and kindness are strategies for success. They will continue to be controlled by laws they refuse to see. You are not most men, not anymore. Because once you see the architecture, you cannot unsee it. You will notice these laws operating in every conversation, every meeting, every relationship. You will watch people deploy them instinctively, not because they studied Machiavelli, but because power selects for those who understand its mechanics, even unconsciously. And you will have a choice. You can reject this knowledge. Tell yourself it is too dark, too cynical, too manipulative. Return to the comfortable lie that the game is fair and the rules are visible. Watch others rise while you stagnate, confused about why your integrity was not enough. Or you can accept that this is how the world actually functions, that these laws are not prescriptions, they are descriptions. They operate whether you acknowledge them or not. And the only question is whether you will remain subject to them or learn to architect with them. The people who control your life understand these laws. Your boss, your competitors, the person negotiating against you. They are not reading philosophy. They are simply acting in alignment with power mechanics that you were taught to ignore. You now have the same map they do. What you do with it separates you. Most men will remain in the cage. They will continue to wonder why their honesty was punished, why their availability was exploited, why their emotional investment was weaponized against them. They will blame bad luck, bad people, bad timing. They will never blame their ignorance of the laws. You are no longer ignorant. You have seen the invisible architecture. You understand that power does not reward virtue. It rewards alignment with its mechanics. That the game was never fair, but it is consistent, and consistency can be learned. This knowledge creates a permanent separation between those who see and those who do not, between those who operate strategically and those who operate emotionally, between architects and subjects. There is no middle ground. You either integrate these laws into how you position yourself, or you continue to be positioned by those who have. You either control your scarcity, necessity, timing, and visibility, or someone else controls them for you. The 7 laws are operating right now, in your workplace, in your relationships, in every negotiation you enter. The only variable is whether you are wielding them or being crushed by them. Most men will watch this and change nothing. You are no longer most men.